It is a truth universally acknowledged that a single man in possession of a good fortune must be in want of a wife. The truth shall set you free. Jesus answered, "You are right in saying I am a king. In fact, for this reason I was born, and for this I came into the world, to testify to the truth. Everyone on the side of truth listens to me." "What is truth?" Pilate asked. John 18:37 and 38. Tea. Today I am trying a peppermint tea with honey and sugar. And this tea I usually put in 2 tea bags, and I like it so far. I'm still trying out teas, so if you guys have recommendations, put them down below in the comments. So, first I want a disclaimer that I'm going to try not to move around too much in this video because I did something to my back at work this afternoon. And after I'm done filming, I'm probably going to lay on my bed and watch Netflix and maybe take an ibuprofen because my back really hurts. I'm getting old, guys. So today's topic is truth for the Speak Up link up. And the 3 quotes I read to you from Pride and Prejudice, Hamlet, and the Bible are the 3 things that first came to my mind this week as I was thinking about the topic of truth and what I want to talk about in today's video. This is a tough topic, guys. I think it's really hard because it's really difficult to acknowledge that there's the possibility of one truth or there being multiple truths. Like, for me personally, I have a really hard time accepting either one because part of me wants to say that there's only one truth because the truth is the truth. Like, I could sit here and say, oh, this morning my iPod woke me up to a song from Ed Sheeran. Ed Sheeran's song woke me up this morning on my iPod. But that would be a lie because this morning a song from Into the Woods woke me up from my iPod. So in that sense, there is one truth. If I tell you otherwise, then it's a lie. So in that sense, sometimes I'm like, okay, yeah, there's only one thing that's right. But then in other senses, sometimes I think it just can be difficult to acknowledge. I was like saying like, oh, like this person says it's one thing, but then this other person says another thing, and maybe they're both right, even if they seem to contradict each other. And those are times like that, I really have this struggle with the whole, there's only one truth. I think a lot of times in life, I end up being a lot like Pilate. The quote that I read for you in the Bible was when Jesus was on trial, and that was him before Pontius Pilate, so he was the one that was gonna tell whether Jesus would die or he would live. You know, Pilate, I think at this point, is just so, like, exasperated with everything. He's just like, I don't even know what the truth is anymore. And honestly, I think I kind of end up being more like him than I would like to normally admit to people because there are so many different things that I hear from different people on different sides and different interpretations of scripture and different interpretations of religion and so many things, and I end up being like, you know, there could be elements of truth to everything that they say, and sometimes it's kind of like, I don't even know what the truth is anymore. Like, you guys all know, since you've been watching my channel and reading my blog, and you know that I'm a Christian, you know I was in ministry, and all this stuff. And those of you who aren't Christians, I watch my videos, I read my blog, I really admire your patience with me, and maybe you just skip over my blog posts and my videos that I want to talk about faith. But those of you who don't and don't agree with me, thank you. Like, just, I appreciate the fact that, like, you're so willing to listen, even if you don't agree. Because I try, at least, to do the same thing for other people, that even if I don't agree with them, I still try to listen. I just appreciate your patience with me if you are not a Christian. If you are a Christian, that's awesome, and I'm glad you watched it. I had a whole plan when I was going into this, and now everything's gone blank in my mind. So you know, I grew up a Christian, And I was baptized as a baby, maybe like, I think it was like 10 days after I was born. I was baptized as a baby because I'm in the Lutheran church and we believe in infant baptism. So my parents had me baptized as a baby. And I went to a Lutheran elementary school growing up, and then I went to public high school, went to a youth group that wasn't Lutheran, and then I went to Lutheran college, and just my whole life I've been surrounded with scripture and the Christian faith and different aspects of the Christian faith, um, which I find really interesting. Sometimes I really like to hear the different sides and interpretations of different denominations and stuff. I do believe in the truth of scripture, but I also know, I think part of the trouble is that, like, one, there are a lot of things, like, the only way I can really explain my faith, honestly, is my infant baptism. And if anyone ever questions whether infant baptism works or is a thing or not, I am a prime example that it could totally work, because there were things I looked through my childhood and different things where I just knew whether it was right or wrong, or wanting to know more about the Bible and just seeing different things. Like, I think about it and I look at the way my mindset was as a kid, especially now that I work with like really young kids, or even with like when I worked with teenagers, and I see how their minds work and their psychology works. All I can think was like, wow. Because I remember, I have distinct memories of being a little kid and understanding something really clearly. And not just like scripture-wise, but just like, I don't know, just things I understood. I got it. And the only way I can explain it is the fact that I was baptized as an infant. And God was in me from the very beginning. Like, the Holy Spirit was in me from the very beginning. And like, I feel like, oh my gosh, when I say that, I feel like I'm so conceited and like, oh, look at me, I was such a wise child. I wasn't a wise child. I mean, I'm still pretty idiotic. So please don't make it seem like I'm being really like self-centered. But that's the only way I can explain. So honestly, that's the only thing I can explain, is because most kids, they have to be taught. And so I don't know, I feel like this doesn't make any sense. I guess maybe truth doesn't have to make sense. Like, I don't deny my faith and what I believe to be true. But I also feel like I can still learn from other people who disagree with me and don't have the same beliefs as me. Like, there are still things I can learn from Jews and Muslims and Buddhists and atheists and agnostics and whatever religion you want to say. I feel like I can still learn different things from them and their perspectives. And I think part of me also acknowledges that I could be wrong. I could be interpreting scripture wrong. I could be believing in the wrong thing. I don't think I am, but I do know it's a possibility, because I'm only human. Like, I'm still a person. I'm not perfect. I don't have infinite wisdom. And so the only one who has infinite wisdom is God. And so until I meet God and actually get to talk to him in heaven face to face, I'm not going to know what parts I have right and what parts I have wrong. And so I feel like when it comes to truth and wisdom and knowledge, we all can have our beliefs and stay firm in those beliefs. But we can also question things. Like, when I read scripture and I read different things, like, there's so many different interpretations. Like, the things that I believe that scripture was saying when I was like in high school, a lot of those views have been challenged and changed since high school, because maybe the interpretation that I had been taught, maybe that wasn't right, because they're also just another person trying to figure it out just like I am. And so even when I do look through scripture and even just like books and newspapers and TV and stuff like that, like, you still have to look at it critically and be like, okay, an imperfect person is telling me this information to another, myself, imperfect person. None of us have infinite wisdom. And so therefore, I need to look at it critically and not just believe things blindly. And I think that's where a lot of us stumble and go wrong when we talk about what we believe and what truths we believe and what truths we don't believe, is that we get so stubborn and being like, no, my way is right. and your way is wrong. And it's like, well, we're all right and wrong to an extent because, like, maybe this person has this aspect of the truth right, and maybe they do know the truth, but this person, they might kind of maybe be on the right track, but they still are off in a way. And I think we can all learn each other. I don't know, I just feel like, unfortunately, we just can't all know everything and know the truth. In a way, that's really hard because, we hear things, like the quote from Hamlet, the truth shall set you free. If we don't know the truth, well, then maybe we can't be set free. But at the same time, it's also kind of freeing not to know that I don't know the full truth about everything in life, because it kind of takes the pressure off, and knowing that it's okay that I don't know everything and I don't have it right, because then I can always be learning and doing more things. I can pray that the really important things, hopefully, God is putting into my heart and showing me what the truth is. I guess that's all I really have to say about that. Some stuff to think about. As for truth universally acknowledged, if you're out there, Mr. Darcy, call me.